Welcome back, my friends. My name is Eric. This is Rome, and we are here with a look at the Clipper. Playing a little Star Citizen today. This is a new one for the IAEE Expo, and this is one that was teased for a long time with what, as it turns out, was a very accurate, untricky silhouette. I think it's a very cool ship. I know the looks are a little bit controversial, but the looks for me are the biggest win. I love the way it looks parked. I love the way it looks parked or in flight. I just think it's an amazing looking ship. I love the fact that it has two entries. We have an elevator and we have a ramp access. Let's not get hit in the face with them. We've got both. I like two access points. I love ramps over everything else. Let me go ahead and put this one back up for the moment, and let me give you a look at it. This is sold as a versatile ship. In theory, you can do anything in it. You can do some combat in it. You can do some bunkers. You can do some travel. You can haul some cargo, right? You could, I guess, hand mine. I don't think you can get an Argo. I don't think you can get the robot in here. I've just based on what it's forgot. Looks a little bit tight to get it in here. So you're going to just be hand mining. So it's not as versatile. We'll come back to the width of this. This is my biggest negative, and in my opinion, this is the don't buy version of it, is the width. But we'll come back to that. So you're not going to be able to get either the robot or a small vehicle in here. You could potentially get a motorcycle on here, depending on the one. Now, because that's not, it might bounce around. It's not meant to be a garage. It has to go up and down. And sometimes lifts, even lifts that are meant to carry vehicles, like say the 400i, don't always work well with vehicles. So, take it for what it's worth. But it's got a little bit of cargo in here. I don't think it's much. Let's pull up. Let's pull up the Clipper here. Let's go. Cargo 12 SCU. So it's got a handful of missiles, 3 size 3, 4 size 2. And it looks like 12 size 1. So pretty good missile loadout, actually. And it's got 4 size 3 weapons, which is really good. In my opinion, this is a small-time ship for combat, bunkers, right? Especially if you can get a motorcycle reliably in the back and you can fly it back, you can ride that back and forth into the contested bunkers. That's not the correct term, but ones with AA. So you could either land directly there or ride the bike in. I would say that would be it. Good weapons, actually. Good missiles, good guns. Top speed of 205 is fine. My understanding is that I haven't tried flying it in combat, but my understanding it does handle a bit like a pig. But the guns make up for a lot of that. But I don't know how versatile it is beyond that. 12 SCU is enough to do some very basic cargo missions. But it can only handle 1s and 2s. So I don't know. I don't know that it's as versatile as they want. And I think it all comes down to that door. We see the back of the engines here. Now we've got a bed here, medical bed. Now this is where it does come into its own. It has a medical bed. Here's our bed. There's our panel. That's where you put your little canisters. That's great. And it's got crafting. So a medical bed and crafting on the same thing. The only thing I have that has both is a Carrack. In fact, I don't think I have another ship that's got crafting at all except the Carrack. And I have a lot of ships. I don't know that I have anything. Now, the medical bed's not a big deal. I can park a Nursa in the bay of all sorts of medium ships. The Asgard is my current daily driver, and it's easy to put a Nursa back there, and then either use it to drive in if I'm going to do bunkers that I have to drive into, or just use it as a med bay. Now, obviously, I can't haul a lot of cargo with it in there, but I can still hold a pretty good chunk, a lot more than 12. But it's not going to have this. It doesn't have a crafting space. Now, crafting doesn't really exist at the moment, so I don't know for you and I how big a deal that is at the moment. Like today, it's not a deal at all because it doesn't exist at all. Here's where our elevator would take us. Elevator, importantly enough, does not take us right up. There is our weapon rack, by the way, and our shield locker. Yeah. So, very Drake. Looks just like the ones in the Corsair. And here's our piloting. And then up here we have our living quarters. All right, so we've got a nice little bench there to eat breakfast at. Put a little hot plate there, wash our dishes. Personal storage there. Oops. And then you can have a hatch here to get down quickly if you need to. I think that's what opens and closes that, so you have to stand on it to then open it. See, am I right? Yeah. I played with it a little bit at the convention show. And we've got components up here as well. And then here's your engineering terminal. All in all, a pretty cool little ship. And I don't really have any negatives with it. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at range. I've been looking at range a little bit in regards to some other ships. Whoops, how close do I have to, there we go. I gotta stand back to get in this seat. Let's take a look. Let's go ahead and fire everything up. I don't think it matters for check the range, but we will anyway. I'm going to go to maps, and I am at Levski at the moment. And so we are going to take a look at Pyro Gateway. Now, we were looking at the Ox, the Hull A, and the Raft earlier, and what it would take to fly back and forth. The Hull A and the Raft both have 1,800 SCUs, and the Ox has 1,100. And then it takes 333, 330-ish, like 328 or something like that, I think, for both the Raft or the Hull A and the Ox to do it. And it took 560 something for the Raft. So the Ox and the Raft, this is 1/3 of their range. The Hull A had considerably more. Like I said, it still took the 328, but it has 18. It has more fuel than this does. This is more fuel efficient, so 258 and 1,700. So it's got a touch more range than the Hull A does. So good range, really good range, actually. Good guns. I think this is a pretty good beginning, like combat, putz around, daily living ship that you can do some crafting in. Like I said, if you can get a bike in there consistently, they'll fit. I'm not worried about that. There's a handful of bikes that will fit in there for sure. The question is the jank in the Raft going up and down. And while we're here, let's make sure the engines are on. I want to lift this up real quick and put the wings down so we can see it with the wings down, because it looks cool. I really like the look of this ship in all ways. I really do. It's really a cool looking ship. I had, whoops. We'll watch the transformation here. I wasn't going to get it. I talked myself out of it. I hadn't talked myself out of it. I hadn't talked myself into it, I guess. I'm kind of talking myself back around to it. I did purchase a Golem Ox, which I have decided that I don't like is a strong term. I don't like it more than the Hull A or the Raft that I already have. All right. It says exit, but I don't see. How do we use it? Do we just walk onto it? We just walk onto it. Okay. It's just some graphical gore there. Oh, no, come on, get off of that. Let's take this down. I will show you some of the jank in my one negative with this at the moment, and why I really this one? Elevator. Yep, they are labeled there, elevator and ramp. Why I had actually legitimately talked myself out of this one. This is a size 4 container. Now, we're carrying 12, and if this is gonna be versatile, if you're gonna use this to carry cargo at all, even at size 12, you're gonna get missions that require 4 SCU containers. And it doesn't go. Now, in my previous, now I can't even get it to come back out again. Let's drop it. My previous, when I tried this, it actually flew through the ship across the hangar. I bumped it and it went flying. So there is some jank with this ladder and with this ship. So that's my worry about the motorcycle. But generally speaking, I'm happier with it now that I've done the official tour and kind of went over the points kind of one at a time rather than just kind of went, oh, look, I bumped it with a container and the ship flew across the hangar, which was pretty much my decision maker. Everybody's got one. Does everybody have one? I don't think you do. I think you have to be a subscriber to have one in your hangar. You've got a free Intrepid this month regardless, or this patch. But I think you have to be a subscriber to get the Clipper in your hangar at the moment. But I recommend renting and flying one if you're on the fence. The guns are great. My other negative is just the number of ladders. Ladders in this game are a bit, well, they're like elevators, right? There's a complicated history with ladders. And it just takes time. And ladders have always been a bit jank, getting on and off and what you can do. And I know they're supposed to be better, but I still have troubles at the bottom of ladders where it automatically connects again and wants to run you up. So I don't know. I love the ramp. The ramp needs to be wider. If the ramp was a little bit wider, I would say this was a must-buy for me. How much does it cost? I haven't looked. Let's go ships. I haven't looked to see what it actually... I think we probably could have got to the price where I was at. This is Drake. What is the price of the Clipper? Clipper's $150. Well, for me, that kind of puts it out of contention for me because I have other ships already that fill some of these roles, with the exception of crafting. But crafting's not in the game. By the time crafting's in the game, I expect there to be 3 or 4 other brands that have released their generalist ship. And there may be something I like more by that point. That's a hard price. At $125, I would say okay. At $150, I mean, let's just look at all. Let's look at all. Yeah, I want all manufacturers. There we go. Can we search by just price? Let's look at 75 to 150 and see what you could get for that price. You can get a 350R. Okay. I don't really think that competes a lot, but I don't hate it. That's 125. A C1 Spirit. I don't think it quite has the guns of this. But this is a very good generalist ship that can legitimately do some cargo. 2 size 3. So it's got, but it does have the 2 turrets. So if you've got friends, then the other, let's see, the Clipper has 4 size 3. So this would have 4 size 3 and a size 2, as well as some missiles. The Clipper still wins on missiles. But if you've got a friend, all of a sudden, does it, multi-purpose, right? They're calling it a generalist, but in the past we've had multi-purpose ships. And that's what this is. This is meant, you're going to get the most out of a crew of 2. But I would say this would be a better option at the moment than the Clipper. I would say the Freelancer. Freelancer Max certainly at 150, right? They're both 150. I really like the Freelancer Max. This is one of my go-to ships. It hauls a stupid amount. I was doing missions last night, doing some interstellar stuff in the dirt because it's got pretty good range. And I didn't need a lot of cargo space for what I was running. But this, 2 size 3 missiles, and then it's got 2 size. So it comes out on the guns, and it does need an extra person. Well, no, you've got the 4 size 3 right there. 4 size 3, 2 turrets, and then the second person can do this. So I would say for the money, as the game is right now, maybe this, but you're going to lose the med bay, right? That's it. You're going to get much better cargo, but you lose the med bay, and it doesn't have crafting at the moment. Maybe some of these ships are going to get crafting later, There's places you could do this in this ship if you wanted. I don't know. I would say at the moment at 150, the Clipper for me is a harder sell than at 125. At a 125, I think it's a no-brainer. At 150, it's borderline. I have a med bay, but I lose useful cargo. But it's got really good range. It's got good guns. It's got a great missile loadout. I mean, we can see it loading right there. I mean, that's a lot. It's a good ship. I don't have any real negatives about it other than the loading ramp, A, jank for holding a motorcycle, or B, just the width to get maybe a size 4 container in there. If crafting was in the game, depending on how useful crafting is, maybe that flips me. I think if you pay 150 for this ship right now, you're betting on crafting being an issue, or you would like to do lower level bounty hunter and a lot of bunker work, and so you want the med bay and the opportunity for a motorcycle to fly in and out. Now, obviously, on a freelancer, you can put a bike in any bike you want in there without any issues, or you could put the I think you can get the exoskeleton in as well. So you have a few more options for that, but it doesn't have a med bay and it doesn't have crafting. Oh, wow, this is a hard decision. They have priced this at a point to make it a hard decision. I think, let's see, are there Clipper, are there some special offers? Let's take a look at the offers. Standalone at 135 with a paint and lifetime insurance. Paints are about $3 for say, but let's say $5 for the sake of this. We'd take it down to 130. That gets it pretty close to my 125. And lifetime insurance. Now it's war bond, so you can't use store credit. At 135 with the paint and lifetime, I think this is a decent deal. I think it's a decent deal, especially if you don't have anything else that lives in this range. You know, I'm talking your Cutlass blacks, or in this case your Cutlass red, right? Or maybe is the medical turtle one, right? Does that would be maybe another one. I don't know what type of guns are on that, but it also has a med bay. It doesn't have any cargo. I don't think the Cutlass Red has any cargo specifically, but you could probably get 12 SCU of cargo in it if you wanted to. Yeah, and those are more expensive ships. As a beginner, kind of, especially if cargo's not your thing, you could do or you want to do kind of some weird cargo, some small niche cargo, like for instance, the Dead Saints running popsicles around the universe, right? This cargo bay would be great for that. It would be really good for that. Great range, good guns, takes you into some places that maybe you need to fight your way into or out of. That's the ideal mission for this ship, is the Dead Saints. Or that type of mission as we get more of that. I think this is a bet on the future of the game, is what this is. But I bought a Carrack. I've got no problems betting on the future of the game. And I might. Like I said, I've got an Ox that I don't love. It's going to get either traded up or just burned down and use store credit. It could get traded up for this. I'm going to wait to see what the Lightning ends up costing tomorrow, I think. And we'll make some decisions past that, because I am getting a Lightning. I do want one, and I'm not likely to spend another $4,300 or whatever I need to spend to get my concierge one. Not anytime soon, anyway. Maybe eventually. But yeah, Clipper, I think is right at a price point that makes it not a no-brainer, but a thinking. Like if this was a movie, I would say go to the movie for sure, but I'm unsure about whether it's worth spending money on popcorn and a soda. You know what I'm saying? That's where I'm at. Go to the movie, but whether you spend the extras. But in this case, you don't have a choice. You either go to the movie and buy the popcorn and soda, or you stay home. And that's where I'm on the fence with this. I really am. But I think it's a cool ship. I love the look. I like the gun loadout. It has more guns on it than that, right? Oh no, is it two? Must be 2 ballistic Gatlins and 2 energy repeaters are what's on it right now. Okay, so those are our 4.3 and all of our missiles. It's just a cool ship. Ladders in a small, too many ladders, although I can get over that because it does balance out by giving me 2 entry points. Although they're the same spot on the ship. But 2 entry methods. And the narrow ramp. You might be able to get a whole motorcycle. You know what? No, I'm not going to do it. You might be able to get around it. I think it's a good ship, and I think if you like the look, buy it. You're not gonna question it or second guess this one. This isn't gonna be a purchase you're gonna have buyer's remorse from. But I'm also not sure that it's a FOMO ship that if you don't buy it, you're gonna regret it for the rest of your life. It lives right at that border point for me. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Cheers.